Hi there, and welcome to CultCrafts. What is going on, you guys? I am super excited that you guys are here to watch the first ever video here on CultCrafts. Well, technically, this is the second video posted. There is another one, but that is about the artist. If you want to go ahead and watch that, just to learn a little bit more in depth about me. But regardless of that video, this is the first ever art video posted here on my art page. A little introduction about me. My name is Morgan Simmons. I am a self-taught artist who pretty much does anything art-related things. For quite a few years, I was mainly into drawing and painting here and there. That was pretty much all I ever did during my high school years, but about a year ago, I decided that I wanted to take my drawings and paintings to the next level. And when doing so, I sculpted this guy right here. His name is Mr. Wiggles. He's very creepy. You know, I like creepy, spooky, mysterious things. That's kind of my style. So that's kind of what CultCrafts is. Yeah, so he turned out pretty creepy. He's my first sculpture that I've ever done, and I'm pretty proud of it. In that moment when sculpting Mr. Wiggles, I had discovered a talent that I just absolutely fell in love with. I've been sculpting for about a year now, roughly, and you know, I can honestly say that I prefer sculpting more than drawing and painting. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not ever gonna draw or paint again. I'm sure I will at some point in life. I just find sculpting to be way more exciting for me, and it honestly makes me more happy. Each piece that I work on has its own character with different ingredients or materials, I should say, and you know, I'm always learning a new technique with it. I'm always gaining a new experience with it, whereas with drawing, I always felt like I wasn't getting anywhere with it. I felt like I was just doing the same process with a different picture, essentially. I know that with drawing, there are many different techniques with it. It just honestly got really boring for me. Sculpting, it literally feels like I can bring my drawings, my paintings, my envisions to life. And that is just really amazing to me. Anyway, I created my brand CultCrafts, and obviously I created this channel as well. A lot of you guys actually insisted that I should do this, so here we are. Here I am. You're welcome. One thing that I absolutely love in people is when they're creative. And that's what I hope for with this channel. I hope to create tutorials, time lapses, and pretty much anything that I make. I hope that it'll inspire others to express their creativeness and to see beyond what they can see. Maybe if you've never sculpted before and you want to try something different, maybe when you get to sculpt with me, you'll discover that hidden talent as well. Well, I think enough has been said, so let's go sculpt some spooky shit. Alright, you guys, this is the first ever bat that I created. As you can tell, it's pretty beat up looking, the paint rubbed off and everything, and there's cracks in the ears. I broke this many times and super glued it back together. There's a hook on the bottom, and that hook is meant to hang on a tree. Today we're only sculpting the bat and not the tree, unfortunately, because that tree took forever. I made many different variations of these bats. I've made colored ones with lights on the trees. I've even went out of my way and made a micro bat. That was very difficult to make without trying to smash it. We're gonna need some materials, right? So I'm gonna use Super Sculpey. You can use any other clay. Next, we're gonna need aluminum foil for the armature, and I'm gonna use bamboo skewers. If you don't have these, you can always feel free to use toothpicks. Next, we're gonna need super glue, and also we're gonna need some black doll eyes. All of this stuff will be linked down in the description box below. Our first stage is the armature, or the skeleton as I like to call it. we're going to take our aluminum foil and rip off a sheet of that and crumple that up into a ball. We're going to take another sheet and also roll that up into a ball as well, but make it slightly smaller. So you should have something like that. This next step, you don't have to do this. I like to do it because I like to make sure that everything is evenly smoothed out and not lumpy. So hammering this just defines its shape a little more. Next, we are going to add the clay, or the flesh as I like to call it, and with this step we are literally just going to cover the entire aluminum foil ball with clay. Pretty simple, right? We're going to be using our doll eyes next. I'm sure there's better eye options out there. This is all I have, but I'm just going to cut the stem off of this. And if you're going to do this process, I advise you to please be careful when doing so. I don't want you cutting yourself, or, you know, if you cut this, I don't want this flinging in someone's eye or something. I don't want that to happen, so please. This next step, we're going to take our eyes that we just cut, and we're just going to place it on the bigger ball of clay that we created. And if you followed me, you should have something like this. This next step here, we are going to go around the entire eyeball and press into the clay to create this drastic eye bone looking structure type thing. Whatever you want to call this, I just made this up and it looked pretty good. So this kind of also made the eye pop out a little bit more. Now, I don't like those harsh edges, so we're gonna go around that bone structure that we created and just smooth that out a little bit. Once you do the same thing to the other eye, you should have something similar to this. See how the eyes look like they're just popped out more? Pretty cute so far, right? Next up, we're gonna create two tiny balls of clay, and these two are gonna be part of the snout. And place these guys as so in the center of the eyes, and this will create a stubby looking face. And then we're gonna press them in a little bit, and then blend them out from the top. If you're finding it a little difficult to blend out the edges a little bit, you can use a ball stylus. Next step, we're going to take another piece of clay, flatten that out, and then we're gonna cut that into the shape of a triangle, and this is gonna be the hog nose shape for the bat. Now we're going to place that above the snout that we created, and then kind of flatten it and kind of like blend it out just a tiny bit, and then we're going to take our rubber spatula tool and then blend out those edges just a tiny bit as well. Somewhere along the way I kind of made the snout a little deformed, so I kind of lost the triangle shape, and this is just me trying to fix that. Yay, I fixed it! This next step, I'm using a tiny ball stylus, and I'm just going to create a nostril slit looking thing. If you don't have this tool, you can use a toothpick or something that has a very fine point to it. That'll just do the job. Do that to the other side and make sure you leave a little gap in the middle because we're going to take some kind of a tool and split that down the middle. Here I'm just defining those nostril lines a little more just to smooth everything out. Overall, you should have something like that. Next step, we're going to take another tiny ball of clay and we're going to place that on the bottom part of the snout, and this will act as our jaw, and you want to blend out the bottom part of that as well. Yay, we're almost done with the head! Next up, we're going to roll out a sheet of clay to a thickness about like that, roughly. And we're going to carve out the ears. And you should have a shape something like that. Take your large ball stylus and press in the clay in the middle part of the ear. You can always use your finger as well. Now, I don't like these harsh edges, so let's go around the ear and smooth out those edges because we don't want it looking like we actually just cut it out. Next, take your medium ball stylus and we're gonna create those grooves inside of bats' ears that help them do echolocation. Roll in those edges a little bit to give it more depth, and you can shape it to your liking. Here, I accidentally made the ears too long, so I'm just cutting those. Here, I'm stretching out the bottom part of the ear because I'm going to place that above the eyeball off to the side of the head, and I'm going to blend that out from the outside. I know it's kind of difficult to blend out the corner pieces of the ear without destroying the eye, so you can use a ball stylus. And speaking of that, I'm taking the ball stylus and I'm blending out the inside of the ear while also creating the ear cavity as well. Make sure you don't push down too hard that it pops through the outside of the ear. Do the same thing on the other side, and you should have something like this. It kind of reminds me of Baby Yoda, or the Tale of Despero, you know, when he was a little baby. I think it's really cute so far. What do you think? Next, take your bamboo skewer and use the bottom part of the skewer to press into the bottom part of the head. The reasoning for this is because after it's baked, it's easier to stab through the head without the edges cracking or splitting. If you use the pointed end of the skewer to create an outline and then you baked it, it would crack and split if you try to stab through the head because you're starting from a narrow tip that gradually gets wider, which results in splitting. Now, could I have just stabbed through the head when it wasn't baked? I could have, but it puts the head more at risk of smashing when trying to stab through the aluminum foil. Next, we're going to be sculpting the teeth. I'm using a tip of a bamboo skewer. You can use a toothpick if you'd like. Please be careful when cutting it. You can also sculpt these out of clay as well, but the clay is very fragile. Overall, you should have something like this. Next, take your smaller ball of clay and flatten the bottom part of that just to make it more stable. I took a chunk of clay and I'm creating a diamond shape out of it, while the two corner pieces kind of look like they're stretched out. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to engrave hair onto it, but you want to blend out the top part of that because once we place the head onto it, we want it to rest nicely. And you should have something similar to that. Next, take your tiny ball stylus and just start scratching at it to create this kind of fur texture and blend out those edges as well. Next, take your bamboo skewer and stab through the body, but not all the way. With this one, we don't have to worry about smashing any of the work that we've done. Roll out another sheet of clay to a thickness approximately to that. We are going to cut out some bat wings, and if you don't know how to draw bat wings, you can always print out some bat wings and place that on top of the clay and trace that out. And if you want your wings to be the same size, you can take your stencil that you made and flip that over onto the other side of the clay and just trace that out. Just like the ears that we did, we're going to take our large ball stylus and start pressing into the clay, into the middle portion of the bat wings, and you can always use your finger to smooth everything out as well. Roll out a strip of clay, and we're going to place that along the top part edge of the bat wing. We are going to blend out the edge part of the strip of clay that we placed and smooth everything out. Roll out a second strip of clay, and we are going to place that in the middle section of the bat wing. Blend out those edges because we do not like harsh lines. I'm using a ball stylus. You can feel free to use your finger as well. Now I'm just blending out that middle section right there to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Next, you want to roll in those edges just like we did with the ear. You see that claw up there? I did sculpt that off camera. All I did was just pinch the edge and curl it over. Overall, you should have something like that. Yay, we're pretty much done with everything. We just need to connect the wings onto the body, and then it should be ready for a bake. To place the wings on, all you need to do is place it onto the back side of the body and just blend that out. To assemble it, you can place it however you like. You can have the wings closed, you can have the wings open, you can have one wing open. It doesn't matter. And everything should be ready for a bake. Once it's baked and it's completely cooled down, do you see the whole outline that we created? Well, we're going to take that skewer that's inside of the body, and we're going to see if it won't split or crack the clay when we put it through the head. Let's find out. And what do you know? It worked. Cut the skewer to size, and then we are going to take our super glue and fill that in the body, and then place the head on. And depending on the wing position, you should be able to move the head back and forth, and if you were to flip it upside down, it shouldn't fall off. And there you guys have it, your own little bat. Clearly, I did not paint this. I know, I'm sorry. I was literally just going to paint it exactly how I did with the first one that I made. How boring, right? I did use an airbrush for this. You do not have to use an airbrush. You can literally use any other paint that you desire, even if it's, you know, from a spray can. I don't care. But tag me on social media because I want to see your guys' versions of this cute, awesome little dude. So make him glow in the dark, make him neon colors, make him pink, blue, rainbow, galaxy colors, whatever it is. I want to see your versions. Later down the road, I'm definitely going to show you guys how I paint with an airbrush and just how I paint in general. A really great brand to use if you do not have an airbrush is Folk Art. Am I sponsoring them? No, but it's a really great brand. They have many different variations of paint. They have glitter, they have matte colors, they have glossy colors. I think they have chalk, I don't remember. They have metallics and glow in the dark, I believe. I don't remember on that one, but you can go ahead and check it out. They're relatively cheap as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I absolutely appreciate it that you guys took the time to watch this video. I know I tend to make lengthy videos. I'm gonna try not to do that, okay? But if you made it this far, congratulations. And points for you. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button. If you want to further continue to support me, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. Comment down below if you'd like, and follow me on social media, or tag me on social media, whatever it is. I appreciate your guys' support. Well, that wraps up today's video. So, until next time, stay safe, stay creative. Bye.